In the idea of mundane madness or mundane extremes, the neuroticism and nihilism of it led me to come to a natural conclusion of what's a good Nietzschean without neurotic nihilism. And I wrote a whole thing initially on that, and then sort of went from there. And so with this, it's kind of like, well, I guess, neurotic nihilism is a way to point out how pointless even pointlessness is, the differing thresholds to sanity, as well as reactive tendencies as a result. And the case study obviously being first and foremost myself, and the supposed pitfalls are my own. In theory, historical and prospective practice, that is, historical and active practice. Neurotic nihilism is my own microcosm in the broader idea of mundane extremes. In the pointlessness of pointless, the whole point is made within that. Never is it a sole instance, and it's not typically a tango, more so a mental massacre. And as a determining momentary factor in of itself, neurotic nihilism is antithetical to itself, given that its goal is existential. The meaning comes from there being no innate meaning, why or how, and dealing with it accordingly. Neurotic nihilism is all the mishaps, misinterpretations, successes, and daily doings against entropy. The model is admittedly quite malleable as such, epitomizing a constant system of skepticism, and from the skepticism, there's skepticism to that. And that does run into an all too common pitfall, fluid thought eroding at any plateau, leveling it to depths in record time. It seems, given my description, a bit crazier and more grandiose than it realistically is. It's nothing at all new or out there. Maybe my outtakes are, but, it's mundane extremes. My outtakes and reactions are what make my experiment interesting, I guess. And then, fellow traveler is a phrase often used to denote a person who surfs ideas trying to understand and connect it all to make it all make sense. On the negative extreme of neurotic nihilism, this, paired with the wired skepticism, can, if left to run wild without balance, become a form of personal psychic vampirism. The brain can only process so many prospects without outlet or break. Where it becomes a form of personal vampirism is it feeds on its own skepticism to be skeptical. And with this, neurotic nihilism, rather than against its weight, is the pointless point. And characterizing this, its perception into conception, where ideas are taken and applied for better or worse. And in long story short, neurotic nihilism is its own proponent and antidote. Yeah. That's neurotic nihilism, at least in good brief summary for now. It might change. Who knows? Well, it will change. It actively is changing. I don't know. It's just something for me, I guess.